In this video, we will be solving a few problems from definite integration. I have taken the questions from Maharashtra Government textbook exercise 4.2. The exercise is a little too big, so I will be solving it in more than one videos. So this is the part 1 of the video in which I will be solving sums from the first main question. So these are the 15 questions that I will be solving in this video. Let's begin with our first question. So we need to integrate this expression and we can start with let I be equal to the given integral, that is integration from 1 to 9, and this integral. You can separate the two terms. So the first term becomes x upon root x plus the second term will be 1 upon root x dx. X upon root x is root x and 1 upon root x you can consider that as x power minus half, and root x can be considered as x power half. So the integration of x power half, that will be x power half plus 1, which is x power 3 by 2 upon 3 by 2, and you have integrated that from 1 to 9 plus x power minus half. The integration will be x power minus half plus 1, which is x power half divided by half, and even that gets integrated from 1 to 9. When it comes to definite integration, we do not put a constant of integration c. All that we need to now do is evaluate the answer by putting in the upper limit first. So that will be 9 power 3 by 2, that is square root of 9 and then cube of it, so that will be 27. And similarly with 1, so 1 power 3 by 2 will be 1. So we have 27 minus 1 the whole upon 3 by 2. To it we are adding this term. We need to put a 9 first, so that will be 9 power half, which is 3, minus 1 power half, which is 1, so that's 3 minus 1 divided by 1 by 2. So evaluating that further, we have 26 into 2, which is 52, divided by 3, and then we have plus 2 into 2, which is equal to 4. So that's going to be 64 upon 3, and yeah, that's the final answer for the first question. We continue with the second one. So here you can, okay, for the second one, let I be the given integral, and in that given integral you can factorize the denominator. So the denominator can be written as x plus 2 into x plus 3. Now whenever the denominator is consisting only of two brackets where the coefficients of x are going to be equal and there is only a constant in the numerator, then you can write the numerator as a subtraction of the two brackets. If there is any constant which comes in which is unwanted, we can balance it with a division outside the integration. So here what we can do is we can write the 1 here as one bracket minus the other bracket, that is x plus 3 minus x plus 2. When you separate the terms, this becomes integration from 2 to 3, 1 upon x plus 2 minus 1 upon x plus 3. And integration of both these terms, this term will be log of x plus 2 minus log of x plus 3. And log a minus log b is log of a upon b. So this will be log of mod x plus 2 upon x plus 3. And that goes from 2 to 3. So when you put x as 3, you get log of 5 upon log 6, log of 5 upon 6. From that we are going to subtract whatever we get by putting x equal to 2. That is, we are subtracting log of 4 by 5. Subtracting log of 4 by 5 means the inner term will get multiplied with 5 by 4. So inside the log we have 25 by 24. So we have log of 25 by 24 as the final answer for that second question. Let's continue in a similar way with the third question. We need to integrate, okay, that's cot square x dx. So integration of cot square x dx. You can write cot square x as cosec square x minus 1. So integration of cosec square x will be minus cot x, and integration of minus 1 will be minus x, and that goes from 0 to pi by 4. So when you put x as pi by 4, you get minus cot pi by 4, which is minus 1 minus pi by 4. So that's minus 1 minus pi by 4. Then you have, okay, cot 0. Cot 0 would be infinity. So that's minus infinity and minus 0. So the final answer here would be infinity, or you can just say not defined. So yeah, the final answer for this integral will not be defined. There might be a correction here. Instead of pi by 4, if you put a pi by 2, you do get an answer. So if I don't take that as pi by 4 and I take it as pi by 2, okay, no, you still won't get an answer because the lower limit 0 is going to make cot x as infinity. So it remains the way it is. So don't take it as pi by 2, keep it as pi by 4. And yeah, the final answer will be, you can either call it infinity, because when you open up these brackets, you get infinity minus 1 minus pi by 4, which is infinity, or you can simply call it not defined. We continue with the fourth question. With these kind of sums, it makes more sense if we rationalize whatever has been given to us. So let I be the given integral, being integrated from minus pi by 4 to pi by 4. So we have 1 upon 1 minus sin x. Multiply that with 1 plus sin x upon 1 plus sin x. Okay. So in the denominator, 1 minus sin x into 1 plus sin x, that becomes 1 minus sin square x. And 1 minus sin square x will be cos square x. Okay. So 1 plus sin x upon cos square x, you can split the two terms and write them in this manner. 1 upon cos square x plus the second term, we can write that as sin x upon cos x into 1 upon cos x. We are doing this because 1 upon cos square x becomes sec square x, and the integration for it is very clear. It will be tan x, and this is tan x into sec x. The integration for tan x into sec x is sec x. So we have the second term as tan x into sec x. So integrating this expression is very easy. This is going to be tan x. Integration sec square x will be tan x, and integration tan x sec x will be sec x. So plus sec x, that goes from minus pi by 4 to pi by 4. Put in the numbers there. So tan of pi by 4, that will be 1, plus sec pi by 4, that will be root 2. From that we are subtracting tan of minus pi by 4, which is minus 1, and sec of minus pi by 4, which is sec pi by 4, which is root 2. So when you open up the bracket, you get 1 plus root 2, minus of minus 1 making it plus 1, and a minus root 2 again. So root 2 gets cancelled, and the final evaluation for that expression is going to be equal to 2. Yeah, so 2 is the final value of that fourth integral, and we continue with the fifth one. All you need to do is rationalize that expression. So this will be integration 3 to 5. When you rationalize it, that is, you just need to multiply this with root over 2x plus 3 plus root over 2x minus 3 divided by root over 2x plus 3 plus root over 2x minus 3. So when you do that, in the numerator you have root over 2x plus 3 plus root over 2x minus 3, and in the denominator it's like a minus b into a plus b. So that expression will become a square minus b square, which is 2x plus 3 minus 2x minus 3. So it's 2x plus 3 minus 2x minus 3. So when you open up the bracket, it becomes minus 2x and plus 3. Okay, so 2x gets cancelled and 3 plus 3 makes it 6. You can take that 6 outside the integral. 2x plus 3, the root of it can be thought of as 2x plus 3 power half. So when you integrate that, you get 2x plus 3 power 3 by 2 upon 3 by 2. Plus you have, you need to further divide with the coefficient of x, which is equal to 2. So there's an additional 2 in the denominator. Plus you have similarly 2x minus 3 power 3 by 2 upon 3 by 2. And this thing multiplied by 2, because you need to divide with the coefficient of x. The integration goes from 3 to 5. Let's simplify the terms here first. So you can cancel off this 2 and 2 here. So the denominator of both the terms will be 3. You can pull out that 3 outside the bracket. Multiply that with 6 and you get 1 by 18. Okay, I think we can solve it further now. So solving it further will give you 1 by 18. Put a 5 first. So that's going to give you 13 power 3 by 2. Plus that's 7 power 3 by 2. From that we are subtracting 3 into 2, that's 6 plus 9, so 9 power 3 by 2. And again you will be subtracting, that would be 3 power 3 by 2. Yeah, so that should be the final answer, that is 1 by 18, 13 power 3 by 2 plus 7 power 3 by 2 minus 9 power 3 by 2 minus 3 power 3 by 2. Yeah, that's the final evaluation for the fifth integral. And with that we go ahead with the sixth one. Sixth one is quite simple, because if the degree of denominator and numerator is the same, plus these are simply x square terms, all you need to do is write the numerator in terms of the denominator. So I can write the numerator as x square plus 1 minus 3, upon x square plus 1 dx. So when you separate the two terms, you get integration 0 to 1. 1 minus 3 upon x square plus 1 dx. Integrate that, so integration 1 will be x minus 3, and integration 1 upon x square plus 1 will be tan inverse x. Okay, that's going to be done from 0 to 1. So this will be, when you put a 1, you have 1 minus 3 tan inverse 1, that is 3 into pi by 4. From that you are subtracting whatever you get when you put a 0. That will be 0 minus 3 tan inverse 0, which is again equal to 0. So there's nothing after the minus sign here, and the final evaluation for that sixth question is 1 minus 3 pi by 4. Yeah, with that we go ahead with the seventh one, and a little bit of trigonometry comes into the play here. So 0 to pi by 4, you need to write that as 2 sine 4x sine 3x, the whole thing divided by 2, because then you can apply the formula of 2 sine c sine d. This is 1 by 2, 0 to pi by 4. 2 sine c sine d, that will be cos of c minus d. So you can say it is 4x minus 3x. Even if you say 3x minus 4x, it does not matter, because you will get cos of minus x, which ultimately will be equal to cos x. From that you need to subtract cos of c plus d, which is 4x plus 3x, and that is 7x. So here you have 1 by 2 integration of cos x, that will be sin x, minus integration of cos 7x, that will be sin 7x, divide with the coefficient of x, which is 7, and yeah, the integration goes from 0 to pi by 4. So the value for this will further be equal to 1 by 2. When you put pi by 4, you get sin pi by 4, that's 1 by root 2, minus 1 upon 7 into sine of 7 pi by 4. So 7 pi by 4, that's 1, 2, okay, so if it's like these are your quadrants, so pi by 4 is here, then 2 pi by 4 is here, this is 3 pi by 4, 4 pi by 4, 5 pi by 4, 6 pi by 4, and 7 pi by 4, you are right here. So that's an angle of 315 degrees. So sine 3 pi by 4, sine 7 pi by 4, that's going to be minus 1 by root 2. Okay, and when you put a 0 here, from this we need to subtract, whatever we get when we put a 0, but when you put a 0, it will be sine 0 and again a sine 0 only. So you're subtracting 0 minus 0, so we need not write that separately. 1 by 7 into minus 1 by root 2, that's going to make this plus, and you have 1 by 7 root 2. You can pull out a root 2 common from the two terms, and that's going to give you 1 upon 2 root 2, and then it's 1 plus 1 upon 7, which is 8 upon 7. You can cancel off 2 root 2 and 8 in the numerator and denominator. That should leave you with 2 root 2 divided by 7. And yeah, that's the final value for that seventh question. We continue with the eighth question. So here, okay, it's again a little bit of trigonometry coming into the picture. 0 to pi by 4. We write that 1 as, okay, before writing that 1, it's better we write sine 2x. So sine 2x will be 2 sine x into cos x. Now, if it is sine x and cos x, then you need to write that 1 as sine square x plus cos square x. Observe that expression very carefully. It's simply the expression. It's simply the expansion for cos x plus sine x the whole square. Cos x plus sine x the whole square, root of it will be cos x plus sine x. So that's what our expression is. Now, whenever you are taking a root, you need to take the modulus of whatever you have got. Now, in the interval 0 to pi by 4, cos x plus sin x will be a positive number, and that is why modulus of cos x plus sin x will be the same term itself. Had it been negative, we would have eliminated modulus and written a negative sign here. But like I said, in the given interval, that is if you take x values between 0 and pi by 4, the expression here is going to be a positive expression, and that's the reason mod of that expression will be the expression itself. Integrate cos x, that will be sin x. Integrate sin x, that will be minus cos x. And this goes from 0 to pi by 4. So when you put x as pi by 4, you get 1 by root 2 minus 1 by root 2, which is 0. From that, you need to subtract whatever you get when you put a 0. So that will be sin 0, which is 0, minus cos 0, which is 1. So 0 minus 1, that's going to make it 0 minus minus 1, which is equal to 1. And yeah, that's the final value for the final answer for that 8th question. In a similar way, let's integrate sine power 4x. So sine power 4x, the method to integrate that is, you write it as sine square x the whole square. And then you can write sine square x as 1 minus cos 2x the whole divided by 2. And you have the square of it. Okay. So this continues further and you get 0 to pi by 4. There's an upon 4 term here, and when you square it, you get 1 minus 2 cos 2x plus cos square 2x. Now let's rewrite this cos square 2x here only as 1 plus cos 4x by 4. I mean 1 plus cos 4x by 2. And if we simplify that expression further, we have integration from 0 to pi by 4. Okay. I'll prefer to combine the entire, all the terms, and we will have 8 in the denominator, so we will have 2 minus 4 cos 2x plus 1 plus cos 4x, and 2 plus 1 makes it 3. So we have 3 minus 4 cos 2x plus cos 4x, 1 by 8 can be taken out common, and let's just continue it here. I'll rub out that step and I'll continue it below this. Okay, so this will be 1 upon 8, and integration of 3 makes it 3x minus 4 sine 2x divided by 2. So 2 cancels off 4 and makes it 2. Then you have plus cos 4x, the integration of it will be sine 4x divided by 4. And this goes from 0 to pi by 4. Okay, so this final evaluation for that integral will be, you put x as pi by 4, so you get 3 pi by 4. Minus 2 sine pi by 2, sine pi by 2 will be 1, so it's a minus 2. Put a pi by 4 here, so this becomes sine pi, and that will be equal to 0. So plus 0 is what we have, and it's better we don't write it. From that we will be subtracting whatever we get when we put a 0. So when you put a 0, this will be 0. Sine 0 and sine 0 will entirely be 0. So when you put a 0, the entire expression will be 0. So in the end, you're just going for a minus 0, and which will leave you with the same expression. So 1 upon 8, 3 pi by 4 minus 2 is the final evaluation for the 9th question. Let's continue with the 10th one. And it's like, it's a sum where you need to complete the whole square. So 1 upon, you have x square plus 4x. Half the coefficient of x will be 2. Square of it will be 4. So we are writing a plus 4 in the end. And then we will write plus 13 minus 4. But that plus 13 minus 4 will ultimately be plus 9. Okay. So this is integration from minus 4 to 2. This becomes 1 upon. These terms are x plus 2 the whole square. Plus 9 can be written as 3 square dx. And 1 upon x square plus a square, the integration is 1 upon a, that's 1 upon 3. Tan inverse of x plus 2 upon 3. And this integration is going to go from minus 4 up to 2. So let's see what we get. Put a 2 in the final answer and you get 1 by 3. Tan inverse 4 by 3. From that we are subtracting whatever we get when we put a 4 here. So that's going to be tan inverse of minus 2 by 3. So we are subtracting tan inverse of minus 2 by 3. And tan inverse of minus 2 by 3. Tan inverse of minus x is minus of tan inverse x. This minus comes out and makes it plus here. Well, you can leave it here, but if you want, you can even simplify that further by using the formula for tan inverse a plus tan inverse b. So you can further write it as 1 by 3 tan inverse a plus tan inverse b. That will be a plus b upon 1 minus ab. Okay, so here if you check 4 by 3 plus 2 by 3, that will be 6 by 3, which is equal to 2. So in the numerator we have a 2, and then we have 8 by 9 here. So 8 by 9, 1 minus 8 by 9 makes it 1 by 9, and that 1 by 9, the 9 goes to the numerator and makes it tan inverse 18. So yeah, 1 by 3 tan inverse 18 is the final evaluation for the 10th question. We continue with the 11th one, where again all you need to do is complete the whole square inside the root. So this is integration 0 to 4, 1 upon root over. Let's write a minus sign first and then make our bracket. So that will be x square. The 4x term goes inside the bracket, so it will be written inside the bracket as minus 4x. We are adding a 4 here to complete the whole square, but actually we have subtracted a 4. So to balance it, we will add a 4 outside the bracket, and this becomes integration 0 to 4, 1 upon root over 2 square minus x minus 2 the whole square dx, and this is going to be sine inverse x minus 2 upon 2, and the integration is going to go from 0 to 4. So let's try evaluating that. When you put a 4 there, you get sine inverse of 4 minus 2 upon 2, that is sine inverse 1, which is equal to pi by 2. From that you subtract whatever you get when you put a 0, and that will be sine inverse minus 1, which is minus pi by 2. So pi by 2 minus of minus makes it plus. Pi by 2 plus pi by 2 will be 2 pi by 2, which is equal to pi. And yeah, that pi is the final answer for the 11th question. Continuing with the 12th one. Okay, so again the same thing, try completing the whole square. This is integration 0 to 1, 1 upon root over. Let's write a minus sign first, and we have x square. The 2x term goes inside the bracket by becoming minus 2x, and to complete the whole square we add a plus 1 here. But actually you have subtracted a minus 1. So to balance it out, you write a 1 outside the bracket. There's this 3 which we have not yet balanced, so we add a 3 here, and 1 plus 3 makes it 4 outside. So this becomes integration 0 to 1, 1 upon 1 plus 3 will be 4, which we can safely write as 2 square, minus, that's x minus 1 the whole square, and the integration for this will be sine inverse x minus 1 divided by 2, and this goes from 0 to 1. So this becomes, okay, to evaluate that, put a 1 in the final answer. Put x as 1 in the final answer, you get sine inverse 0, which is equal to 0. From that you will subtract whatever you get when you put x as 0. So when you put x as 0, you get sine inverse minus half, which is minus pi by 6. And yeah, 0 minus minus pi by 6 makes it plus pi by 6. And that's the final evaluation for the 12th question. We continue with the 13th one. Now in the 13th one, you need to be careful because you will be applying the UV rule. UV rule, to use that you need to remember the rule of Lyot. L stands for logarithmic, you don't have it. I stands for inverse, you don't have it. A stands for algebraic, and x is an algebraic function, so that becomes u. T stands for trigonometric, sin x is trigonometric, it becomes v. Okay, so for integrating this, you need to follow the rule, that is u integration v dx, that is x integration of sin x dx. Let's write that directly as minus cos x. So x into minus cos x, and the limit will be applied over the entire first part that you get here, not only on the integration that you have done here. Okay, so 0 to pi by 2 gets applied on the entire function, minus integration from 0 to pi by 2, derivative of u, that is derivative of x, which is 1, into integration of v, that is integration of sin x, which is minus cos x dx. Okay, this minus can be taken outside the bracket, and you can write a minus here, and then integration of cos x can be written as sin x. So we have sin x getting integrated from 0 to pi by 2, and yeah, this is going to give you the final answer. So when you put a pi by 2 here, you have pi by 2 into minus cos pi by 2, but cos pi by 2 will be 0, so the first term that you get when you put x as pi by 2 will be 0, and the second term will also be equal to 0. So this bracket evaluated is going to give you 0 minus 0, which is equal to 0 only. So we are not writing this bracket any further. We will continue with evaluating this bracket. That will be sin pi by 2 minus sin 0, that is 1 minus 0, which is equal to 1. And yeah, that's the final answer for the 13th question. Let's continue with the second last question of this video, the 14th one. So again, apply the UV rule, the rule of Lyot, L-I-A-T-E. There's no logarithmic. Inverse, yes, we have it. So tan inverse x will be u. A algebraic, we have it here. So x will be v. So u integration v, that will be tan inverse x into integration x, that is x square by 2. I prefer to write that x square by 2 first, because if I write it here, then there's always a confusion whether this x is multiplied with that thing or it's the full thing multiplied with that. Because it's tan inverse x fully multiplied with x square by 2, it's better we write it here so that reading becomes a little easier. This is being integrated from 0 to 1, minus integration from 0 to 1, derivative of u, that is derivative of tan inverse x, which is 1 upon 1 plus x square, into integration of x, which is x square by 2. So there's a 1 by 2 here, and then a dx. In the numerator, we can write that as 1 plus x square minus 1. and evaluating the first part, we have 1 by 2 tan inverse 1, that is 1 by 2 into pi by 4, which is pi upon 8. You put a 0 and you get a 0, so minus it will be 0. Minus we have half. Then we have the first part as integration 1, which is equal to x, minus the second part is 1 upon 1 plus x square, that is the integration of which is tan inverse x. And this too goes from 0 to 1. We evaluate this further, so we have pi by 8 minus half into, put a 1 first, so you get 1 minus tan inverse 1, which is 1 minus pi by 4, and then put a 0, so you have 0 minus tan inverse 0, which is all equal to 0. So in the end you have a minus 0, and it's okay if we don't write that. So if we expand this, we have minus half and plus pi upon 8. So minus half plus pi upon 8. Pi upon 8 plus pi upon 8, that is 2 pi upon 8, which is equal to pi by 4. And yeah, pi by 4 minus half, that's the final answer for the 14th question. And with that, we proceed with the last 15th question in this video. Okay, again the rule of Lyot. No logarithmic, no inverse, algebraic, yes, you have it here, that is x, so that becomes u. No trigonometric, exponential, yes, you have it here, that's v. Okay, I need not go up till the end. The moment you have identified one as u, by default the other is v. So integration ub will be u integration v, that is x. Integration of e power minus x will be e power minus x and upon minus 1, because you need to divide with the coefficient of x. That simply makes it minus e power minus x, and the limit goes from 0 to infinity. Minus integration from 0 to infinity, derivative of x, which is 1, into integration of e power minus x, which is minus e power minus x. I'll write it as e power minus x here, and the minus goes out and makes this plus. Okay, 1 into e power minus x, and integrate that, you get minus of e power minus x. So I'll write it as a minus here only, and e power minus x going from 0 to infinity. Yeah, that should do. So evaluate this. When you put an infinity here, infinity into e power minus infinity. E power minus infinity will be 0, and that is why the first term here will be equal to 0. Minus, you put a 0 back here. So e power 0, fine, that's going to be 1, but 0 into anything is going to be 0. So again you have a 0 minus 0, which makes the first bracket entirely getting evaluated to 0. So it's okay if you don't write it on the right hand side, because ultimately it's 0. And try to evaluate this, so you have minus of, put a minus infinity first, and e power minus infinity will be 0. Minus, you put x as 0, so you have e power 0, which is 1. So we are subtracting a 1 from there. Minus of minus 1 makes it 1, and yeah, that's the final answer for the 15th question. So yeah, this is where I am done with discussing whatever I wanted to discuss in this video. Do check out the other videos of this playlist, and I hope that the contents of this video have been someplace somewhere helpful to you in your preparations. Thank you.